With the first season of Andor concluded, we got some of the best Star Wars we've had in a long time, possibly ever, but that's up to you to decide. That's not saying the rest isn't good, but this series had some of the best directing, acting, and dialogue, all without the use of the Force, Jedi, Sith, or any of the Skywalkers. In the first couple episodes, it hardly felt like Star Wars, but that turned around and it became more about the galaxy far, far away than we could possibly imagine. The idea that an everyday man or woman could be just as impactful as those using the Force to guide them is a somewhat new idea to the Star Wars galaxy. We were shown another side of the galactic civil war than just the glorious victories of the rebellion and the humiliating defeats of the Empire. There isn't a clear line between right and wrong, good and evil. And sometimes characters weren't as evil as their regime once promised us. Let's face it, we always imagined every person in the Empire was just evil. But the Andor series changed that with the character of Syril Karn. Beginning as a deputy inspector for the Preox Morlana, an affiliate of the Galactic Empire, Syril Karn quickly became an antagonist that we could all empathize with. I know that sounds funny when spoken aloud. Antagonist. Empathize. But it's true. As confusing as it sounds, let's look at why that is in the Syril Karn character study. If you love Star Wars as much as I do, or you're just a casual fan wanting to talk about the greatest franchise ever created, then you've come to the right place, because Star Wars is all I talk about, and I upload new content whenever I can. So if you have an interest or love for Star Wars, go on and hit that subscribe button and join this growing channel for deeper discussions, theories, and Star Wars lore. Each one of you is appreciated much more than you know. When we first meet Syril Karn in the Star Wars Andor series, we get the sense that he's just another pompous Imperial looking to stamp out freedom in his tiny corner of the galaxy. He was a deputy inspector investigating a murder on his base planet of Morlana 1. It seems 2 officers of his unit had been killed outside the leisure zone, and Syril Karn meant to bring the fugitive responsible to justice. But when his superior instructed him to leave it alone, he pursued it anyway, with less than favorable consequences even. Syril tracked the wanted man to the planet of Ferrix, and even had a name and face to go with the criminal, Cassian Andor. Thanks to the double-crossing of one of Ferrix's own, Tim Carlo, once friend to Cassian. It just so happens that Cassian had a meeting with a rebel coordinator at the time Syril Karn had gathered men to apprehend the wanted man. What should have been a simple task of serving a warrant and bringing Cassian in turned into a battle for the men's lives of the security force. Several had died or been injured, and Syril Karn himself was tied up by Cassian and left. The result was Cassian Andor and Luthen Rael had escaped, leaving an embarrassing mark on the Preox Morlana security force in the eyes of the Empire. After the skirmish on Ferrix was over, the security force was disbanded. Syril Karn was removed from any Imperial seat and was jobless. Syril Karn returned to Coruscant to his mother's home, where she would treat him as a child and use family contacts to get Syril a nice, stable, mundane job with the Bureau of Galactic Standards, which would pin him down and keep him under her watchful eye. It was revealed that Syril had never invited his mother to visit him, when he was stationed on Morlana 1, that is. He also had not been home to see her. And it was becoming evident as to why. Syril's mother was already showing signs of being controlling to her son, questioning him on his attire and even insulting him when she didn't agree with what he was wearing. Frustrated with his living situation, his mundane job, and his overbearing and oftentimes passive-aggressive mother, he continued to actively search for Cassian Andor, using what little means he had available. He was determined to find the criminal who evaded Syril Karn's capture, bruised his reputation, and caused him to suffer through an average life, when he knew he was meant for so much more. After all, Syril Karn was a man of justice, a man of high self-worth, and a man who trusted in the Empire and its facade of peace throughout the galaxy. For Syril Karn, the galaxy had never seen a more golden age, but his life had at this point. When Dedra Miro brought Syril in for questioning, he saw it as more of a conversation than a slight interrogation. When the questioning was over, Syril received a promotion in his meager job, a promotion that he was thankful to Dedra Miro for, but still thought of the position as below his ambitions and standards. He didn't care about moving up in the Imperial Bureau of Standards. He wanted to be out there, bringing those to justice who disregarded the values and ideals of the Galactic Empire. As Syril Karn learns the news of Cassian Andor's mother passing, he wastes no time in teaming up with his former sergeant and heads to Ferrix to try to trap the man who caused his fall from grace within the Imperial ranks. But his plan fails. But all wasn't lost. Syril had managed to save Dedra Miro from being killed during an uprising, following the funeral speech of Marva Andor. As you can see, Syril Karn is a fascinating character. He isn't the swashbuckler that Han Solo was, the skilled bounty hunter like Boba Fett, nor the arrogant antagonist such as Grand Moff Tarkin. He wasn't ruthless in his tactics. In fact, when Syril Karn tried to serve Cassian Andor's arrest warrant, he merely detained Marva Andor without using physical violence. He didn't hold his chin up and parade around like he was the mighty servant of the Empire with a promising career. Instead, as the deputy director of the Pre-War Security Force, he held that position with honor and duty, not in the hopes of gaining favor from the Emperor nor any regional Imperial bureaucrat. He did his job because he was an officer trying to uphold the law, and Cassian Andor was a dangerous fugitive in his eyes. Syril Karn isn't typical by any means. If Cassian Andor wasn't the hero of the story and the perspective were to be shifted, we would feel a great deal for Syril. He's deeply tormented by problems we can all relate to in our own world, whether that be a dead-end job that we feel stuck in or someone else is trying to control us. We may even be a bit shy about confronting the controlling individual because it could cause more problems than we need. Instead, we look to the horizon, keep our chins up, and hope one day there will be a breakthrough that sets us on the path we are meant to be on. There are so many moments when we may even find ourselves hoping Syril gets what he wants by way of a favorable position that leads him back to the galaxy at large. The acting of Kyle Soller is nothing less than brilliant. We feel his frustrations and can't help but yell, "Get out of your mother's house." We felt embarrassed for him when he was stripped of his job and sent into obscurity for a botched arrest, which resulted in the deaths of some of his team members. And when you think back on it, you can't help but feel bad for the whole team if you look at it from another perspective. They were there to do a job. They weren't on Ferrix to occupy the planet, nor were they there to cause trouble. Just arrest one man for the murder of 2 corporate security officers. Instead, what Syril Karn and his subordinates got was a trip into hell. But when all is said and done, Syril Karn was the deputy inspector of a security force, not a police force, nor military unit. He overreached his jurisdiction, and his Imperial overlords weren't happy about it. Yes, he failed in his attempt at arresting Cassian Andor, and that was an embarrassment to the Empire. But had he succeeded, that would have been a bigger embarrassment. A lowly security guard accomplishing something the Empire had not a good look for the Empire at all. Syril began as a leader in the Andor series, but ended up in a mundane job, but saving an ISB agent helped him. It's saying something that he was promoted in that job, as the Empire generally looks for those who can polish brass, rather than those who have actual skill. Syril is one with actual skill, and I hope to see him lead in the same fashion that he had in the Pre-War Security Force, only slightly smarter. Syril Karn is one case of the blurred lines between right and wrong in the Star Wars Andor series. His intentions were pure, bring justice to a murderer. He did, however, do something the Empire could not. He tracked down Cassian Andor in just a few short days, where the Empire had Cassian imprisoned for more than a month and didn't even know it. I hope to see so much more of his character. I'm not going to speculate that he will turn into a rebel or anything like that. I will just say he's going to remain who he is, a man of duty, honor, and he will continue to seek justice for the man who killed his officers, Cassian Andor. Beyond that, we will have to wait and see in Andor Season 2. I'm going to continue these character studies of each of the major players in the Andor series. I'll continue to do so without speculation as to what will or won't happen to them next, with the next character being another of the most fascinating characters to come from Star Wars in a long time, Mon Mothma. Sure, she was in other Star Wars projects, but this series really developed her. Following her will be Luthen Rael. Beyond that, give me some suggestions. There are a lot I will be doing, but I'd like to know which order you'd like them done in, so leave it in the comments. This is Gerald, a Star Wars fanatic, signing off, wishing you all great health, happiness, and peace. Be good to each other. Thank you all for watching, and remember, this is the way, and positivity in the Star Wars community is the only way.